Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm bringing you a twist that's shaking up the celebrity press. The story between Yaman and Sara is far from over. And what just happened on social media has reignited everything. First, a quick reminder. For years, tabloids have used the same magic formula. Unfollowing each other, breakup, following again, sakang reconciliation. But is it really that simple? Spoiler, with them, never. Because when Sara disappeared from Instagram, deleted her profile and vanished, half the world declared, it's over. The end. Final point. But then, she suddenly reappears. And not just any way. She returns with photos, videos, happy stories, and above all, one explosive detail. She reveals where she is. Tenerife. Yes, the exact same place where Ken is. And as if that weren't enough to fuel suspicion, in one of those stories, she kisses the camera. For many, it was like saying without words, this isn't finished. Now here's the interesting part. Maybe there wasn't a dramatic breakup. Maybe it was just a normal fight, the kind that happens in any relationship. But when you're famous, a one-day argument turns into a tsunami because of social media, followers, and sudden profile disappearances. Meanwhile, the Italian press spent months running headlines as if Ken were searching for true love, as if he had issued an official statement. And when everyone already believed it, boom! Ken and Sara show up together in public again and smash that narrative. So the big question appears. Was it a plan, an image move, a strategy? Some swear it was, saying it all lined up with the release of Sandokan, like a public relations campaign. But let's be clear, if it were a planned operation, moving this fast would make no sense. A strategy like that needs long silence, real distance, not an almost immediate comeback. The most logical, most human explanation is this: a short crisis and a typical couple back and forth. And here's the key message. Love doesn't fit premiere calendars. No one can say, let's not argue, the series comes out in 2 weeks. Real relationships don't work like that. Trying to control them to match the press only destroys you, especially on unstable ground like social media. Another point we can't ignore. No one knows the full truth. Everyone interprets gestures, silences, follows and unfollows, but they give no explanations. They choose to be invisible when they should be visible. And suddenly, they share the same sky in Tenerife, under the same palms, with the same wind. On top of that, fans have spotted curious details in Sara's videos. The landscape confirms Tenerife. A shadow appears in the background that many claim is Ken's. And then, he posts a story with an air kiss, almost replying, "They say it's over, but look, I'm here." And Ken, true to his style, stays silent. He doesn't confirm a breakup. He doesn't deny a reconciliation. He keeps working, training, focused on his life. But we know how this works. When Ken goes quiet, something is happening. Meanwhile, paparazzi have been scouting Tenerife for days. Result? 0 photos, nothing. Yet that very lack of images is feeding the rumors even more. Because in the celebrity world, when a couple truly breaks up, they don't hide. The ones who hide are usually the ones getting back together. So what's going on? 2 options. Either they've reconciled, or maybe they never split up at all. Their emotional bond seems strong, their paths keep crossing, and Sara remains close to Ken's environment and projects. That's why this story doesn't end abruptly. It simply changes shape. And in the end, the most honest question is another one. Where are we in all this? We're spectators. We want to live a series in real time, but this is two people's lives, not a script for headlines. They fight or make peace, follow or block each other, and we only see fragments. Conclusion: don't buy definitive endings. With Ken Yaman and Sara, there is no end, only new chapters. And from what we're seeing, the next chapter has already begun. If you want, in the next video, I'll tell you what new clues fans are following in Tenerife and why this silence speaks louder than 1,000 headlines. What all this noise around Demet Özdemir causes in me is a strange mix of tenderness and exhaustion. Tenderness because it's clear that many people still want to see her inside the daydreamer bubble, as if that stage were a home you can always return to. Exhaustion because every time the fandom gets restless, the same inflated headlines appear, the same recycled photo evidence, and the same bloggers who live off lighting fires. And in the end, the one who pays the emotional price is her, even when she hasn't said a word. To me, it's very clear that much of what's circulating is smoke. The comments say it bluntly: fake, old photos, another lie. How could she be in Milan if he's filming in Spain? I see it the same way. They grab old images, repackage them with a new context, and that's it. You've got an explosive story for clicks. The worst part is that in this game, Demet ends up treated almost like an extension of Can's life, when in reality, she has her own career, projects, and decisions. That constant reduction irritates me because it erases her identity to sustain someone else's narrative. I also feel that Demet is being forced into a script that isn't hers. Some demand that Ken clarify responsibilities toward Demet and her son, or that he disappear from her life forever, as if she were a passive figure who needs protection from someone else's choices. I don't share that view. Not because there couldn't be wounds or unresolved things. I don't know, and it's not my place to claim it, but because Demet doesn't seem to need public guardians. She looks like someone who knows exactly where she stands and what she wants to do with her life, without asking the internet for permission. I notice a double standard that really bothers me. When the focus is on Can, everything becomes a judgment about his excesses or supposed lack of control. When it shifts to Demet, it's almost always to ask, what did she do? What does he owe her? What's between them? It's as if the public wants Demet to carry the emotional side of the myth so the myth survives. And honestly, I find that unfair. No one forces other actors to live forever inside a fictional couple. But she is, as if she were obligated to represent Sanem forever, even when that time is no longer her present. At the same time, I understand where that anxiety comes from. Demet has a way of being on screen that leaves a mark. She's bright and approachable, but also firm, with a blend of strength and vulnerability that makes the audience feel they truly know her. That creates a real bond, even if one-sided, and that's why every silence of hers is read as a clue, and every gesture as a coded message. But one thing is loving her. Another is turning her into collective property. I want to see her free of that cage, not locked inside by someone else's nostalgia. That's why I think it's healthy to say it clearly. If today there is no proof of anything, then there is nothing. And if what's being shared are stories with no date, the honest thing is to admit we're looking at a tale. One commenter asked, "What year and date was that?" That's the right question, because that simple doubt dismantles half the internet. Sometimes the antidote to fake news isn't arguing for hours, but asking for chronology. And when none appears, the mystery is over. it becomes obvious we're consuming emotional recycling. Above all, I worry about the noise being built around her. Some comments call to judge those lying bloggers. And even if it sounds harsh, I also think it's time to demand a minimum of responsibility. You can't invent a story using a real person's name, throw it onto social media, and then wash your hands saying it was just a rumor. Demet isn't a hashtag. She's a woman with a family, a job, and dignity. If she chooses not to respond to every provocation, it's not because she's hiding something, but because she understands that feeding the circus only makes it grow. In short, my stance on Demet is simple. I respect her a lot for how she's handled the pressure. Without chasing easy headlines, without lending herself to the endless soap opera others want to write for her, and protecting her space with an elegance not everyone has. I'd like the conversation about her to focus more on her work and what she's building now, and less on tying her to a past that has already completed its cycle. If one day she decides to say something about Ken or that period, her voice will be the one that matters. Until then, I prefer to believe what I see. An artist who keeps moving forward at her own pace, while the world around her tries to pull her back into a story that, for her, is no longer the present.